18th at 6:31, and I'll call this meeting to order. Our fearless leader is out of town today, so I will be running it. So let's go ahead and start with the approval of the minutes. Are there any corrections or additions that need to be addressed? Okay, so then I can accept the minutes
As submitted.
As submitted.
as submitted. Okay, I'll accept the minutes as submitted. Great.
Good.
All right, next we have public comments. We have anyone here? I don't see any hands. So let the record straight, no public comments to be made. So now we can go ahead and move on to the draft active transportation plan. This is a discussion and feedback only item. So feedback is requested. So Scott is here. Scott, did you want to give just a brief kind of overview of what you're looking for? And then I'll open up the floor for members to make their comments.
Yep. I'm going to attempt to share screen here. All right, is the full screen of the first slide up right now?
Yep.
Great.
Good.
So I'll give a brief little presentation here just to review some of the work that the Ped Bike Transit Committee has been working on and looking for some feedback from you all. Apologies, John has already heard this presentation at Plan Commission. So hopefully it's good enough to hear twice. So yes, the Active Transportation Plan was prepared by the City of Middleton's Ped Bike and Transit Committee over the course of the past year and a half or so. And the first question, let's see if I can go forward. There we go. What is active transportation? Active transportation refers to ways of getting around that prioritize walking, biking, rolling, and other human-powered travel, along with supportive transit connections. It focuses on designing streets, sidewalks, paths, and crossings that are safe, comfortable, convenient for people of all ages and abilities. In some, they're designed and built for people, not just for cars. The reason this plan came forward at its most basic level is because the comprehensive plan recommended that we adopt an updated active transportation plan. Our old bike and pedestrian plan was last updated in 2009 and was due for a rewrite. When drafting the plan, we started with a public survey to gather comments from the general public on what they viewed as their priorities. And then we went to work summarizing all the different regional adopted plans, ongoing initiatives from various departments. This is a very interjurisdictional issue spanning a lot of different disciplines, both within the city and with partners outside of the city. So John asked a very great question at Plan Commission of who is this plan written for? And I would say that it's written for everybody to be able to understand pretty quickly and succinctly what is happening in the city on active transportation and what is the path forward for these initiatives. So hopefully as you're reviewing your packets, this served as a really great primer on all the different initiatives happening across the city. The goal was for the general public, if they want to learn about this, they can quickly pick up this document and learn about it without having to go through all the different various meeting minutes, budget amendments, and things like that. It was also drafted during some work sessions with the Ped Bike and Transit Committee and also some joint meetings with the Public Works Committee. This is one of my favorite pictures from the process of everybody gathered around a map, providing comments and edits to it. And there will be some upcoming public input once we're using the community bike ride for Bike Week as an open house. We're also working to get a few others scheduled and having a public survey throughout the month of June. So why is this important? Active communities are more sustainable, more equitable, more affordable, healthier, stronger economically. And one thing we don't want to lose sight of is they're also just more fun. It's nice when you can live in a community where your family can just ride a bike to the park. The plan kicks off with reviewing some of the highlights that have happened since the previous plan, with a summary of some of the major missing links that were completed, a review of a strategy the city has used a couple times and is looking to do pretty soon here with the Century Avenue bridge underpass for the new Pheasant Branch Trailhead project. We have designed shared use paths through new subdivisions, particularly on the north side of the city. This map is meant to show that through four or so different developments all happening at different times, the city has been able to tie together shared use paths that will finish a loop on the north side of the city to help create connectivity throughout the entire system. And that was done by making sure that as the subdivisions were developed, that we were planning and designing the trails at that time versus trying to retroactively fit them in, which is much harder. And then lastly, one of the big initiatives of that 2009 plan was the Gammon Road Diet, which took it from a 4-lane road with 2 lanes each direction to a classic road diet is where there's goes 3 lanes with the center lane being a turn lane. Not only does it provide bicycle facilities on the road, it also makes it a little bit easier for cars and safer for cars. The 2 lanes each direction configuration is recognized as one of the less safe configurations for roads. The plan puts together a set of goals and strategies under the 5 primary goals of designing useful routes, building safe routes, maintaining comfortable routes, creating interesting routes, and promoting active transportation. One thing that was really important to the Ped Bike Transit Committee was, as I mentioned earlier, creating a plan that would be really easily digestible. They didn't want to have a incredibly lengthy, hard to understand plan. They wanted to really get to the essence of the issue pretty quickly. So we borrowed a strategy from our housing action plan and created these one-pagers where it gave a description of what each thing is, why it's important, and some of the detailed steps of how to implement it. And then for the last part of the presentation, I'll highlight a few of the main maps. There's a lot of maps in this plan. That's the fun part of transportation planning is we get to work with many, many maps. The first and most important one I wanted to bring to your attention is the bicycle network map. This designates the priority path connections to ensure that as new redevelopment proposals are coming forward, or as capital projects are happening with road reconstructions and such, that we're keeping the broader bicycle network in mind and knowing what the long range plans are to make sure that we have an interconnected system. As it's relevant to Sustainability Committee, the goal here is really to make sure that we create a system that is useful enough that we can convert as many car trips as possible into walking and biking trips, which is inherently the most sustainable way to get around the city. We took a lot of the upfront public input on what the most challenging intersections are throughout the city and mapped it with this heat map so that the most dense ones show the ones that came up most often as this is a challenging intersection to get across. Actually, just this morning, I was talking to our public works director, and they are conducting a they're working to put together a safety action plan for the city that looks at the traffic safety holistically, and they'll be incorporating a lot of this public input into their plan as a lot of the anecdotal. Here's what the issues are, and then they'll do the more site-specific work on top of that. And also something our Parks and Rec department is working really hard on is putting together a long-range maintenance plan. This is a tentative map of the paved trails throughout the system right now. There's also a series of unpaved trails that they're working on finalizing the data. This is a live issue that's in progress. But this is just to show that, one of the issues in our system right now that we identified is the need for better maintenance. Particularly, you can see the North Fork Trail here. The reds and yellows are a little bit lower quality, along with other parts of the system. And then lastly, the plan ends with a series of appendices. starting with a narrative summary of that bicycle network map, a best practices guide for the various types of typologies of bicycle and pedestrian facilities, and a summary of potential funding sources. And so I know that covered a lot of ground really quickly. Hopefully you had time to read through your packets with the plan. Uh, Now, the direction for the Bed Bike Transit Committee is we wanted to get input from as many other city committees as possible to hear how um, your reactions and incorporate those ideas into the plan.
Great.
Scott, nice job. I'm going from 40 minutes now to 10 minutes. That's good.
Well, thank you. We appreciate that. And we appreciate all your hard work on this. So
Yeah.
I will open it up to the committee for comments. And I see that Dick has his hand up. So go ahead, Dick.
Well, I like the fact, I think I saw the red dot bullet over the Century Ave challenge to get across from, was it the bottom of the Pheasant Branch Conservancy path, getting across over to the road. And I think you said there's going to be a bridge there. I'm wondering about how you do that. I know the Spring Harbor thing has a way of going under University Ave there, and I'm wondering if you're talking something like that and how you get down low enough to get across. Can you describe that challenge? Because I think that was one of your biggest red dots.
Yes, and sorry, I might have gone over that a bit quickly. So that is a planned, that bridge needs to be replaced anyways. That's been on our replacement plan for a while. And so in 2027, we anticipate the reconstruction of that. So that's something that's already under design and they found is feasible. There's enough space to put the path underneath the bridge. So that right now you have to, it's kind of a weird, just disjointed. You have to go over to the light, then cross 4 lanes of traffic, and then get over. With the construction of the new Pheasant Branch trailhead, now that will connect pretty seamlessly underneath the bridge at that location um, across Century Avenue. So that makes one more safe crossing spot for people that want to get it north-south across it.
Great. And I use that crossing all the time. So thank you. I'm looking forward to that upgrade. Okay. We see Dean's hand next.
Yeah, hi. Thanks for the presentation. I was interested in a couple of things. First is, how do you define success in a plan like this? I noticed that some of the things in 2009, 17 years later, still aren't done, and I can't blame anybody for that. It seems like these have to go at different rates. But what is your hope for, I don't know, percentage of completion of all these goals? Because it seems like they're just about all, nothing I could argue with, but hard to get them all done. So I was just
Right.
wondering if you could.
That's a great question. I think more so than other types of plans, this one is about, the blocking and tackling of day-to-day implementation to make sure that as each project comes forward, we're consistently making upgrades that are compliant with our complete streets policy. So that, for example, with the design of High Road, incorporating, bike lanes into that, this plan lists a lot of the different projects that are anticipated to happen. And by incorporating them into the plan, it helps keep us transparent with these are the goals of the projects we hope to finish, and we want to make sure that we're completing them
So,
on
so
time.
the time frame in many ways is set by Public Works and the overall transportation. It still might be run pushed forward by auto and bus.
In some ways, yes. In other ways, so I think one example is there is a path connection planned along University Avenue between Allen and Branch Street. That is
Yes.
one that is within the bounds of a TIF district that we're creating, and that wouldn't rely on any redevelopment happening.
Okay.
That could just be something that gets put in.
Perfect example. Thank you.
Yeah, I think and I guess to put a final point on it is part of the goal of this is to make sure that these all stay top of mind. And so that we are aware of all the opportunities that we've planned for the long range and that we're able to pull the trigger as grants or other opportunities come available.
Yeah, well, as a biker and walker, I was pretty excited to read it. So
Great, that's the goal.
All right, thank you, Dean. The order next is Sue, Kermit, and then Alder Schaefer. So Sue?
Okay, thank you. So I guess along the similar lines as to what Dean's questions were, how do you prioritize? And then how do you, like, what's the tracking mechanism or the public facing sort of the priorities? Is this plan? So this is a draft plan.
Mhm.
So in the final plan, is there a prioritization process? Will that get included in the final plan so we sort of know like what the future holds? Is that based on funding mechanisms? Like what's the ultimate goal, I guess, of that final plan and how you prioritize? And I'm also curious if part of the prioritization is connecting, maybe connecting to businesses, or is it to neighborhoods, or like there just seems to be a lot there, and but how do you get to the there?
No, that's a great question. I think part of that in this plan, we took a lot of the proposed uh, future shared use path routes in the city, and some of them we deprioritized in terms of, for example, the railroad corridor is a great example of one that in the near term we don't foresee that moving forward. We want to retain it for long-term consideration, but so on that bicycle network map, we made some decisions of priority 1 and priority 2 routes. Part of the feedback we got from Plan Commission was along these lines of having an implementation table at the very end that lists which committees are responsible for which things. When it comes to prioritizing between the different strategies, on this, it's a little bit harder because they're drafted as broad goals and ideas that, we're not necessarily going to choose between maintaining sidewalks versus maintaining shared use paths in the plan. But, within part of the goal was to pick out these strategies that I think we can all agree on and, rank up what are the actions that we're taking towards all of them as a bit of an audit to make sure that we are moving forward on all of these different strategies that are considered a priority within the city. And on that last note, one that I'm excited about if we can make it happen is between that Pheasant Branch Trailhead and Middleton Hills Commercial Center. That's been a priority of ours for a long time, and we're hoping by studying the Century Avenue road diet potentially, or that's an RFP that's going to be going out relatively soon here. We're hoping to see if the consultant can configure a roadway that allows us to make that particular connection between a commercial space and park space.
Okay, great. Thank you.
Yes, that's a
Yeah.
great one that I think many bikers
Yeah.
would appreciate.
Yeah, I agree.
Yes. Yes. Kermit.
Yep, thanks.
Mhm.
Well, thank you very much, Scott. I like the comprehensiveness and the ambition of the plan overall. I'm really excited to see it all kind of spelled out. In the words of Jean-Luc Picard, I'm inclined to say, make it so, number one, which leads me to the question, which is kind of related to some of the questions that have been raised already. Who's number one? Who's going to be riding herd on this, making sure these deliverables get delivered and these priorities get sorted out?
Yeah.
And I have a couple other questions, but that's the big one, I think.
Great question. I think in the same way that a lot of sustainability initiatives across the city are led by this committee, ultimately the pedestrian or the active transportation issues are the purview of the Pen Bike and Transit Committee to make sure that we're staying accountable and moving forward on all of these shared goals. And one other item I forgot to mention in terms of prioritization between goals is on the final public input survey, we plan to include a question for the general public of here are these various goals and strategies on a scale of 1 to 5, rank the relative importance of them. That will help us understand where the broader public's prioritization is and help inform as we go forward and different committees put together budgets and priorities that tie into the goals of this plan.
So as far as the who's number one, it's like the committee that kind of answers the question, but is there somebody, are you the staff person that's kind of going to be saddled with shepherding things along? Or I guess I'd like to know who it is so that we can kind of encourage them and support them, and maybe every now and then tap them on the shoulder and remind them as appropriate.
Yeah, so I was the lead for this project. Daphne Shu, our senior planner, is the staff person for the Penn Lake Transit Committee. So I would say between the two of us, although I hesitate to say any one person is the, active transportation czar, for lack of a better term. One thing as we went through this planning process that we really found out, it's crosses all the disciplines and requires a lot of extensive collaboration.
Right.
So us as planning staff, it's obviously top of mind all the time. And so we tend to be the ones that make sure it, we bring it back to the goals of these plans that we put together. But ultimately it's a team effort on the city. And I've been very pleased we've had a lot of great involvement from our public works and Parks and Rec staff, which are the two other departments that most closely work on these issues. And they were very involved in this plan writing process, and I think this plan represents great consensus among all of us.
Okay. Yeah, and from the sustainability perspective, we definitely empathize with the challenge of interdisciplinary, cross-departmental coordinating, and are very grateful that Kelly is there to kind of run around and tap people on the shoulder, and just hoping that there's somebody analogous to do that for this plan, because again, it's very it looks like it crosses all the I's and crosses the T's and dots the I's that I'm excited to see being addressed.
Great. Yeah. So to that note, I think Daphne and I combined would be the Kelly in this situation.
Okay.
I would definitely support that from Kermit's comment, because as the person who was kind of the shepherd for the sustainable purchasing policy,
Right.
having someone responsible for what's happening, what's moving it forward makes a huge difference, because it's very easy to get filtered.
Right.
So even a designated committee member, just to constantly answer the question, is this happening? What's moving forward? Is huge.
Right.
And I like the term champion better than czar. So,
Yes.
so let's go with the active transportation champion. And that's just the person with all they do is keep asking those questions.
Right.
That will go a long way to helping you achieve your goals.
Yeah. And Laura, that is definitely a case in point, or a case study, how we thought we took care of sustainable purchasing and then found out we didn't, and we went through a couple times, and you came along, and wonderful things have happened because we had a champion finally.
You just need a champion to follow up that doesn't drop off. Okay. Is that it, Kermit? Can we move on to John now?
I was just, as far as maintenance, I would really encourage or underscore that part of the plan. I do a lot of biking on the streets and paths of Middleton, and one of the areas of particular fear and trepidation isn't, for the most part, say because of other traffic, but because of the Pheasant Branch Conservancy. There's stretches of the path that get flooded, get a lot of drainage, get a lot of erosion, and it can get a little dicey. So I don't know what options there might be to improve or address that, but I will just raise that up to make sure it's somewhere on the list. I don't know what the solution is. I just know it happens over and over again, that it gets turned into a mess and becomes very hazardous.
Okay. Along those lines, I did run this plan through Claude and asked it to compare it to other progressive cities and see what it came up with. And one of them was maintenance. It was winter maintenance. As a matter of fact, it said that winter maintenance went a long way to increasing year-round um,
Access,
usage
use.
and
Yep.
asset. Yes, and definitely the sandy parts. I go through said, Pheasant Branch all the time. And if you don't have good bike handling skills, you're going to dump it. But so that's just maintenance is definitely one that the AI said, hey, you might want to build
Right.
that in.
Are you calling me AI? No, no.
See, you're an agent. You're
There
an
we
AI,
go.
our AI
Agentic.
agent.
I'm sorry.
All right, I'll
How
start
could you
calling him
tell?
Kermit.
I thought I could
Yeah.
disguise it so well. Anyways, so that's enough for now. Thank you very much.
You're
Thank you.
welcome. Yes, John, you're up.
Yeah, thank you. I just again want to thank Scott for the massive amount of work done in here. But in respect with Dean and Sue and Kermit too, this is not really, as I understand it, not really a plan. This is a compendium of things that can and should be done. So it's not prioritized. It's not a 3 years. Here's the hit list of what we got to do. Bang, bang, bang. This is really sort of an open book to the whole city to say these are the issues. These are the finally pulled together in one giant compendium that says these are the things we always need to be cognizant about. And so if every project in every department in the city, anything that's being done, this is the book they need to go to and say, okay, how can we draw these things into this? So it's never, I didn't think it was really meant to be a strategic plan. What's the priority? It's simply the list of the 1,000 things that we all should be thinking about all the time. And I hope everybody uses it. You can correct me if that's a wrong interpretation, but that's my sense of what this is. So.
Yeah, I would say that's largely correct. I would say the only part of that I would push back on a little bit is within the choices within the bike network map or some of the other maps of making choices there of what are different priorities or less of a priority. But yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, certainly understand there are priorities and some are going forward, but it's not this document that is pushing those particular priorities. It's that, thank goodness they're being encapsulated in this whole thing. Anyways,
Yeah,
good
no,
job.
Mhm.
Supported
Thanks so much.
100%.
Okay, maybe along those lines, I know we have, a sustainable city plan, which is probably similar to this, but then we've got the kind of 1 to 3 year old plan that we are going to be working on again that you pull directly from it and make it a little bit more efficient. So maybe this is just the
Exactly.
broader.
That's exactly what, and we got to do that too. We'll come back to that later.
Yeah, so just we're doing the big one and then we'll come back and do the smaller one to knock it out every year.
Yeah, there we go.
Okay, Brad, you're up next.
Hey, again, just echo what everyone said. Thank you so much for doing this. This is fantastic. Along the lines of kind of this being a plan, my question is since we're here and since we have the opportunity, is there anything in this plan that you're like you really think you need support on? I guess I'm looking through all these, how to implement, and I'm seeing a lot of kind of go here and do this and whatnot, and I'm hearing the word support a lot. So is there anything that we could do today, maybe some kind of, I don't know, some kind of formal, we support this or whatnot to get the ball rolling or help you with any of these? That would be my question.
Yeah, I don't think we need a formal motion tonight. This is more just a review and make recommendations on, but I'm sure the meeting minutes will reflect a lot of the support the Sustainability Committee has had. And, more broadly, one of the reasons that we do active transportation investments is from the sustainability component of it. So the more that throughout the years as these projects come up, the voice of sustainability in that will be incredibly important to making sure that we're staying committed to these overall goals.
Understood. I guess I would just say that, yeah, as they come up, come back to us, and if you need support, I feel like, we'd all be happy to give it.
Absolutely. And with Kelly's new office, she's actually right around the corner for me, so I can just yell out whenever I need it.
Perfect. All righty. And Sue, I see your hand.
Yeah, thanks. So I guess really quick, I've developed a lot of plans. I'm a very anyway, back to John's point about the plan not being necessarily a plan. Maybe there's a different word. Maybe it's a roadmap, no pun intended for this one, but it could be a roadmap. Or there should be maybe a recommendation is to put a purpose of this document in there so that it's clear, like, even before building at like before the chapter on building active communities, there's acknowledgments and then there's a purpose. Like how to use this document. What is this document supposed to be intended for? So that people like me don't go immediately to, okay, well then where is the build out of the plan? Because that is where my head went, and that's what I went looking for when I opened this up.
Well,
So
and the plan committee, if I could just interject, that's what happened at the plan commission too, is a sense of what is really the purpose. And I know that Scott, you talked about rewriting or adding to the introduction. It's probably not there yet.
Yeah, that's a great idea. Did you want to comment on it, Scott, or anything?
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a really great point. So that's something that we'll put in there as a little bit more of a orientation to the document and how to use the plan, and especially as we get the public input back in June on relative prioritization, maybe that helps us place some prioritization within the different strategies as well. Although with these ones, I hesitate a little bit just because they're all important. So we never want to imply that one is less important than the other, but point well taken that we do need to make those types of choices in the plan as well.
Maybe that's why you want to stop using the word plan so much, because that has implication.
Yeah,
Sure.
I think that is true, because on the things I'm like, oh, we need to incorporate matrix. We need to work on it in prioritization. And now I realize that's the next one. That's the next little plan that
That's right.
we
That
talk
comes
about.
next.
Yes.
Yeah.
So clarification, I think, is what we need, is what is the purpose. Very good.
Great.
I don't see any other questions, any other comments that we have. Okay, well,
I
I see
I'll let Deborah
Deb's
go
hand.
first. Deborah
Yeah,
just
popped up.
I just got a text from Dick. His internet isn't working and he's been kicked off the meeting, and so that's why he's gone. So I just wanted to mention that.
Okay, that's good to know. You hate when the internet goes down. But okay, Kermit, did you want to finish it up here?
This is kind of I don't know, maybe it's more of an ordinance question than the strategic roadmap overview plan. But what is the official legal guidance regarding sidewalk usage for bikes? I mean, and how does that interweave with the planning of the work you're doing with the active transportation?
Yes. That's one of those things that I trying to remember the exact ordinance language right now off the top of my head, but generally bikes are allowed on sidewalks, especially in situations where it'd be unsafe for them to be on the street. As a policy, we prefer to have bicyclists using the bike lanes and shared use paths throughout the city, and that's part of the goal with creating an interconnected network, is to promote that more. But I don't believe there's an ordinance against bicyclists using the sidewalks.
Okay. All right. Good question.
Thanks.
Okay. Any other comments on this? All right. I don't see any other hands. You hit a lot of the ones that I had, so I won't repeat anything. I also sent you a little summary of some of my thoughts. So thank you very much, Scott. I appreciate your time. Hopefully you got some information that will help you move the document forward. Anything else?
No, this is all incredibly helpful. Thank you so much. And we'll take this information and get it incorporated into the plan.
Okay, thank you very much. We appreciate all your time and hard work, and thank you to the other staff that wrote on it as well.
Thank you,
All right.
Scott.
All right. Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, next we are up to the staff report. So Kelly, if you want to put that up on the screen.
Do you see the agenda right now?
I did. Yes.
Yes.
Where did it go?
Yeah. I mean yeah, I'm scrolling through, but okay.
So yes, I believe that the staff
Yeah.
report was right after Scott's presentation and feedback. So I think
Yeah.
that it is on page 74 of that document if you want to jump to it.
Right.
There you go. So, comments or questions for Kelly on the staff report? And you might want to just scroll through it slowly to refresh people's memories. Anything I thought it was pretty comprehensive. Oh, there's Sue. Sue's hand. Go ahead.
I see the compost is going to end up by the Walgreens.
It has. Yes, indeed.
It's
did
already
indeed.
there, but the trash cans are not there. So,
Yeah, everything's going to be moved over on June 1st
okay.
by the county.
I went to dump my trash, but there was the art fair and I couldn't get there. And I couldn't get here either. So,
Yeah, you
okay,
would have
June
had
1st.
to walk. Yes, June 1st.
Okay.
Well, hopefully
You
that
can
will
still
work
use
out.
the site. You can still use the site on Terrace Avenue until
Yeah,
June
I couldn't
1st.
get there because of the art fair.
Yeah. Yeah, on Saturday you
Garbage
couldn't.
set out over the week.
Okay, anything else in there?
I just a question, Kelly, on the EIGP Lakeview Village solar and stuff. Is that really saying there's infrastructure tampering, like vandalism, or what does that refer to?
I think there was. I don't think it was too serious, but I don't know if someone flipped the switch for the shutoff of solar. And they feel like on that site they would like to have a fence just around the infrastructure and around the solar disconnect and the batteries. So they're working through the requirements by MG&E has requirements, fire has requirements, and then we'll have zoning for fencing on private property as well. So there, even though it seems like it's something you really need, there's quite a bit to work out for something like that.
Okay.
Okay.
Any other questions about this?
Well-
Sue?
Sorry,
okay.
for the Sustainable Middleton Plan update 2026-2028, it'll be on the next agenda. Is there anything else that we need to do or that you need help with prior to the next meeting or related to this other than having us read through what's currently there? Just if there's any other prep work or help that is needed.
Yeah, I need to think about that. It would be great to have help from the committee. The committee really was, I don't know if they were charged with doing it, but Lisa Hanairo helped pretty much wrote the Sustainable Middleton Plan, the first one, and she pulled directly from the comprehensive plan. And she and I had a really helpful meeting recently. And, she's always pushing to have this updated, which as she should, because it's past time. And she would like to see an update to the plan, but she thinks it could be rather simple and more about what have we accomplished from the prior plan, which most has been at least completed or it's in process. And then think about what the big priorities are over the next year or two. And we discussed that, and I can present a memo on some of my thinking around that, just so that the committee can see that and help me, with how my thinking on that, on priorities. The plan doesn't have to be something that is started from scratch where we come up with things we want to do. We already have the comprehensive plan, strategic plan. We know what we need to be working on, like the climate roadmap will take precedence. So I'll put that in a more succinct memo for next time. But it would be really helpful if the committee could go back and read what we have right now. And I think if you've been reading the staff reports, you'll see kind of where we are with that, with the prior plan.
And I would say, as noted in the previous discussion, I wish I had my nesting dolls here because the Sustainable City Plan pulled from the comprehensive plan, and this one pulls from the Sustainable City Plan. So this one should be like 3 pages, 5. It should be short with all everything that you want, those action points. That's what this plan is about. What's the prioritization? What are we going to work on? That's what Lisa basically wants out of this. So she would just simple, what are we going to do over the next 3 years so that we can track if we're actually accomplishing it? That's what she's asked for. Alder Schaefer?
Yeah, just to confirm, because she and I talked also, and she said one of the main reasons she's keeping me on this committee is because she wants some force behind us to do that plan. It's time, it's overdue, and maybe just simply my presence here will make sure that we do it. So I agree with
All
Kelly
right, keep us
100%.
to-
It can be simple, but it needs to go forward, or a bunch of us are in a hot seat. So
Keep us on task.
Yes, good question. Very good question. I know she wants that done. Okay. Anything else from the staff report you'd like to discuss? Questions? Okay, then let's go ahead and move on to the operating budget. Kelly had a question about making some adjustments here for the intern. So Kelly, do you want to explain your ask in terms of?
Sure. First of all, is a really helpful document, Laura. Laura really created this document as a template last year for how we can approach our operating budget this year. And until I really got into it and started putting dollar amounts to things, I didn't understand how amazing it is. And now I understand it's so well organized, and I found slots for everything in my mind about, different pots of money. And I think there's enough flexibility within it that the committee can, decide you can spend the money however you would like and however you vote. But this is a nice framework for that. So the committee has approved $3,000 for an intern for this summer or this fall. And I found an intern and I've interviewed her and I've offered her the job. She's a rising junior in college in architecture school in Brooklyn at Pratt Architecture. And she has a really deep interest in sustainability. And she, I think, understands how necessary data is and good with design, good with software, and is very willing to work on the Santa Monica guidance sheets to adapt them to Middleton for the sustainable purchasing implementation plan. She could help me out with data as we hire a firm to start on the climate roadmap, which in the beginning will be front loaded with probably a lot of data gathering. And then she's also, willing to work on some side projects. I have a lot of things lined up for her to do. I'm not worried about that. But $3,000, if she worked 3 days a week for $15 an hour, it would only secure her employment through partial part of July, June and July. And I would really like it if we could extend her time in through August 7th. She can only work up to August 7th because they return to school mid-August at Pratt. And so my ask is to see if the committee would be willing to put in another $600 to secure her employment through the summer. And then that way I would have more time with her because unfortunately, as you know, I leave for about 3.5 weeks midsummer every summer. So I'll miss a portion of her internship this summer. So I highlighted the areas where I put that amount in so you can see some of the math. The other blank highlighted space is that Laura had put in some potential money for funding work on guidance sheets. And so I thought that $400 that Laura had put in as a potential spend could just be looped into the intern position to boost up some money for her to stay an extra couple weeks.
Okay.
And part of her job would be working on things like those sheets, right?
Yeah, I think that would actually be a large portion of it.
Okay, so it makes
She could do
perfect
a,
sense. Yeah.
yeah, I feel like it would actually be that $400, but it'd be in the intern line item instead. And so, yeah, that's my request.
Right. So really, if you add those two together, you're only asking for like $200 more for the intern because she will be doing that line item.
Mm-hmm.
Any comments or thoughts on that? Alder Schaefer?
yeah, I think Kelly's does an incredible job, and any extension of her and ability to make her grow bigger, it's got to be great. So I am 100% in favor of this. because I know that Kelly will use this person to absolute best advantage in the ways that will all benefit. So I am 100% in support.
Okay. Kermit?
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. I'm glad that Kelly has been able to find somebody so promising in terms of their interests and qualifications. The clarification I'm looking for is, given that we have this year done such a wonderful job of laying out the budget and lay out the allocations for the budget, it totals up to $10,000. And so now what are we're shuffling $400 from guidance sheets to cover it. Where's the other 200 coming from? Just so that we can know what we are sacrificing in order to support this. I mean, I think it's a high value opportunity, and so I want to do it, but I just want to make sure we're understanding what the trade-off is that we're recommending or affirming.
Well, I guess it could come from several different line items. I mean, I think doesn't have to be exact either. Like, I think it was meant to shuffle around as needed. But there is a line item for $500 for Way Forward LED bulbs, which the committee tends to spend at the end of the year with extra money that's left over. There's $100 with the SPP integration, which I'm not sure what that is, but that could be part of SPP work that she works on. There's
There's the miscellaneous necessities that you
Right.
underspent last year. And it seems
Yeah.
to me that's could be an easy place
Yeah.
to pop it.
Right.
I will say that after the intern, with the increase of the additional $600, would put you at 79.52 for a
Yeah.
spend. So you'd still have a couple thousand to work with. And
Yeah.
I mean, we could get really in depth, and I could say, well,
Right.
you should definitely spend the 700 on the utility bill in the fall. Like, there are things that you will end up spending more money on.
Right.
So I think in the end, you'll be close to 10,000 at the end of the year, unlike some years.
So what
Right.
about, what about the ICLEI membership? Because that's 1,200 right there. And did we get a grant again this year by any chance?
We didn't, but that's a question in my mind because we're hiring a firm to do our climate roadmap, and I think as part of that, the school did a GHG inventory from that, and then found out all of their energy data through that process. So I'm wondering if we could loop in that inventory into into the climate roadmap. I wouldn't necessarily. Well, I have to think about how I'm going to structure that RFP and what I break out, but they would have to do some of that as part of their work. It's still a question in my mind, though. I've thought about it.
Okay, but that's a chunk
It's
of money that,
optional. Yeah.
that's optional. And it seems like we're really talking about just moving stuff around and a couple $100 here or there. So I agree with
Yeah.
everything everyone else has said. This is a good use of our
Right.
money. It will help Kylie. So
Yeah.
I would say, do I have anyone want to provide a motion to approve the budget request?
Yeah, Schaefer will approve that or make that motion to expend
I'll
the extra
second.
$600.
Yep.
Six, okay, $600 approved. And then I think Dean seconded it.
Yeah.
Sure.
Did you get that, Kelly?
Yes,
Okay.
thank you.
All right, it's been moved and approved or seconded.
No.
So do I have, we need a vote now.
Vote,
So
yes.
all in favor?
Aye.
You get,
Aye.
as a matter of procedure, you might ask for any final or further discussion and then call the vote.
Okay, do we have any final or further discussion? Sorry about that. Okay, and then, it's, now that we have a vote, or we have a motion,
Second.
and all in
No
favor?
further discussion.
Aye.
No further,
Aye.
aye. Any
Aye.
opposed? Any opposed? Doesn't look like it. Okay, the motion carries. Thank you. All
Great,
right,
thank
that's
you.
good.
I will offer her the job, formally with the right paperwork tomorrow, and she starts on June 1st.
Perfect. I think this will be
Great.
great. All righty. So now we need to go to the work initiative updates. So let's start with Brad and the Green Team update.
Hey again, everyone. It's been a great month for us. We had a big kind of PAC presentation about AI and the environment. Spent a lot of time on that, reached a lot of people, I think. Went out to Cromery Middle School to do a bunch of visits to their 8th grade class, talk about sustainability in a bunch of different ways. Thought that went really well. Had a big meeting with operations supervisor, financial head, and lunchroom head on composting. Looped in Greenbox. We're going to start a trial at the end of this month, and then hoping it's all go ready to go for next year. It was very productive. We feel very strong about it. I'm very excited about it. Yeah, and then I guess the only other thing I'll add is that I am a graduating senior. I'm not exactly sure what the process is, and if I'll attend meetings again in the future, I really don't know. But I do know that I emailed Christy, and we kind of talked about the application process for replacing me and whatnot. So I noticed that Finn is on this meeting. He's from Middleton High School. He's fantastic. He's a great person.
Okay.
He's done a lot of work. I won't put him on the spot, to say anything, but so he and a couple other people are interested in applying. I'm not exactly sure how that will work with, when they'll get approved or whatnot, but yeah, that's about all I have to say. So,
Well, I do want to say thank you for your service on behalf of the city, the mayor, Christy, myself, and all the committee. You've been great. We've really appreciated all your efforts and working with you. And so thank you and good luck at college. I understand you're studying engineering, is it?
yeah, environmental engineering, kind of a pre-med track. I'm a little all over the place, but I'm really excited.
Way to
So,
go, Brad.
That is
Way
okay.
to go.
Yay.
There we
Good.
go.
This is the time to be all
thank
over the
you,
place.
everyone.
Yes.
yeah, you all
Yay.
are absolutely fantastic, and you do amazing work. And thank you for everything. You've been great mentors, great people to work with. So thank
Well,
you so much.
Feel free to
Thank you.
contact us if you need anything. So thank you very much. Excellent work.
Absolutely.
Sounds
Okay.
like you'll be healing people or healing the planet. Either way, good
Both
job.
are great.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
Excited about both of them.
So Finn, the bar's been set.
Yes. So now you know.
Kelly, do you have any clarification of the next steps for the high school rep, so that we
Yeah.
have somebody coming on board as soon as possible after Brad departs?
Yeah, I believe the mayor makes the appointments, and there's an application, a questionnaire. It's fairly simple online, and then the mayor will look at those and probably invite students in to fill the position, and then she decides and appoints the next member.
And Finn, I would recommend sending your resume. It's just good practice, but it will also help her know where you're at, what you're interested in, and things like that.
Yeah.
I was hoping maybe one clarification. I think when I originally asked about this, they said that I would kind of continue on with the committee until the school year ended. So I guess technically graduation is June 6th. So I don't know where that lands in terms of if I'm still gonna, be on the committee through June or through July. I'm not sure. I don't know if anyone has any clarification. I guess it depends on when the next member gets chosen, but I would say either way, I'm happy to stay on for an extra month. I really don't know.
Great.
I believe this is the last month officially. By all means, we would love to have you back in June, but if you are busy with graduation and different things, then, if you don't come to that meeting, that's fine. I think the term officially ends in May, and then next month in June, we will be voting on we're voting on chair, vice chair, and the new members should be at that meeting at that time.
Understood.
Brad,
Well,
you can always sit in on any meeting.
Please.
Forever.
Right.
Even during college.
You learned it.
Well, thank you again, everyone. You all are fantastic.
All
Thanks.
right, thank you. Okay, the School Sustainability Committee, that's you, Kelly. Quick update.
Yeah, I would like, if possible, if I think Kevin Spittler joined the meeting, if he'd be willing to give a brief update on the last meeting. I was very sick and I ended up just sleeping through the whole committee meeting. So I really apologize. I didn't attend the last one. Is Kevin on here?
Yes, Kevin is on. Kevin, are you there? I can give you 3 minutes.
Kevin.
Yeah,
He may
Yeah,
have stepped away from the computer as well, but it was I know it was the last meeting of this school year and it will start back up next school
Okay,
year.
back.
okay.
Okay.
Yep, there's Kevin. Okay.
Yes, the primary items covered at the last meeting was discussion of the Green Box trial, which Brad has already covered. There are several tentative additional solar projects at Sunset Ridge, West Middleton, Cromery, that may involve canopies over the parking lot. So a solar array over a parking space, and a whole row of them. And there's still $1.1 million, according to McKinstry, of credits that can be gained if the school district acts quick enough. And I know the general time frame they're looking at for making a decision or sending it to the board for a decision is going to be around September. So, and they will be looking for some broader community support to encourage the board to do that. The difference between what the school district would have to spend and the credits that we get back are just a couple $100,000, I believe. But you do have to make the commitment up front before you get the items purchased and the credit process going.
Okay, so is there anything we can do to support that? I mean,
Well, I can certainly let everybody know when that's about to happen. So I think it'll be late August or early September. But they said that they would keep committee members, that is the district sustainability committee members, apprised of when it was coming up. And again, they're hoping to get the staff is hoping to get community support, maybe greater than we had in the past.
okay, well, definitely come back to us in August and September, and we can work on writing letters and providing some support to help make that happen.
Certainly.
Thank you. All right, Deb, you see your hands up.
Kevin, before you blank out, was there any talk of Sauk Trail getting the geothermal system that they cut out of the last phase 1 plan?
Well, that's it's a good question. That would help them get to their net zero number, but it also is a huge investment up front of like $4.3 million. And I think they believe they just can't sell that to the community, even though a portion of that will come back in the way of rebates too. Geothermal credits are still available into the next year or two. However, solar credits are not. So, yeah, it's just they believe it's a hard sell, particularly when they're looking at a referendum asking the community for more money. And that's probably even more likely after what happened this past week at the Capitol.
Okay. Okay. And Brad, I don't know if you got in contact with Eau Claire. I gave you some contact information about their composting that they've been doing for the last, I don't know, 8 years or something. The director of all of that got Sustainable Eau Claire Award this year for composting. So I sent that information into the district to encourage them to continue working on composting in Middleton. So hopefully that happens.
Absolutely. Yeah. Try to get connected with them. Thank you.
Good. Well, Deb, while you're still there, you want to give us an update on the rain garden event?
Yes, we had a huge rain event without the garden part. And I think it was about 10 o'clock yesterday. The skies opened and the rains came down. I even had hail at my house. So we had to do a rain delay. Kelly sent out information to the potential participants. And we had, it filled up, 25 was our limit. And then we had another 10 or 15 on the waiting list to get in. It was a very sought after workshop. And but the weather reports said we might have some thunder showers in the afternoon. So we actually had 12 people sign up or show up. And we actually constructed a rain garden on a property right downtown Middleton on South Avenue. And we also planted it. So there was 96 prairie plants that was put in there. They got the whole thing done between 2:30 and 5:30. So it was a very successful operation. And we're going to have a maintenance workshop or a maintenance talk at the Bruce Company, July 25th from noon till 2. And Mitch McCarthy did the rain garden workshop. He's also going to do the maintenance portion of it at the Bruce Company. So the first hour, he's going to be talking about maintaining your rain garden in terms of invasive species, putting it to bed in the fall versus waking it up in the spring, the whole thing. And then we're going over to Cromrie and we're going to work on one of their rain gardens that the sixth graders haven't taken charge of. It's the one that's on the hill on Park Street. And they're actually going to look at what the invasive species are and do the maintenance on that rain garden and get actual hands-on experience. So Mitch got a rain garden on his property with all these volunteers. And one of the guys said, "That seems a little self-serving, don't you think, in the beginning?" And then at the end of the process, the guy said, "I got to thank you. At first, I was a little skeptical because you're using all our help for free to get your rain garden done." And then he said, "But now I know how to do it because I actually built a rain garden and I actually did it. So thank you so much." So I think it was a great success. Kelly was there as well. And I would love to do something similar in the future because Kelly was getting responses from people right up almost until the day of asking if they could get in, and it was closed to new participants. So very, very, very successful. Kelly, what am I forgetting?
That's great.
No, just that people came to City Hall, people called me on the phone, people left their name and number at the front clerk's desk trying to get into this rain garden event. And some people called me or emailed me and just thanked you really for having this event and want more of these. And I do think the model of like I do, we do, you do, kind of apprentice model, hands-on stuff is really great to actually get people to do it. Because you can go to a lot of lectures, but if you've actually built a rain garden, then you feel very confident about going home and trying it in your own yard. So I would like to in the future years, do more of these types of things.
Yeah, this reminds me of when I went to the recycling center where the demand just kept showing up until you finally built, the recycling center. And I would love to see something like that happen with these rain gardens. I'm talking to my own neighbors about building a bioswale. So, I mean, if you actually did have it set up, so everyone got to, "I'll help you. Let's try it here. Let's move to the next one. Let's try it there." You could accomplish a lot. So I'm glad it was a great success. Keep it going. Great job, everyone involved. Okay.
One thing I did want to really quickly say is that most all of the registrations came in the day that the utility bill arrived in people's mailboxes. When I look at the dates that everyone signed up, It's the 3 days around, when those letters would have reached their mailboxes.
Which tells us that's a good spend. That's
Mhm.
what people are reading. So that's a vote to keep doing those. So good job. Okay, next we have the paper shredding event. So Kelly, I guess you just need some volunteers.
Yeah, we almost have enough. I think we could pull it off, but if anyone would like to volunteer or even come for about an hour, it'd be helpful. It'll be indoors inside the recycling center. People will drive through. It's a pretty well-oiled event at this point. We've done it so many times and people really appreciate it. If you want to have some positive interactions with residents, this is the event to come to. People nearly cry with, happiness to have all of these documents out of their house and shredded safely. So that's May 29th, and there's nothing more to add to that one.
How about
Great.
what time to be there?
I would say 2:45 at the latest. People really start coming at 2:30 sometimes to line up and be first in
Oh,
and out.
So 2:30 would be better.
Yeah, it'd be better. Yeah.
Because I don't know, is there setup or whatever?
There is setup, and there are a core group of us staff who will be working on that as well. Like I'll probably go out around 2 and start helping the recycling staff get things set up. Luckily, the recycling center is pretty, it's already set up. There's signage about the one-way system, but it would help to have people directing traffic into the center, at least at the very beginning. That's when it's busiest, and then helping people unload the paper from their trunks.
Okay,
Okay. So,
very
I mean, I
good.
can be there at 2 I mean, I can show up when you show up if you think it's useful. Otherwise, I'll come at 2:30.
And it looks like Rick is in for it. He's a great volunteer. He's done it and he's so efficient. I'm really happy
Yes,
you can come,
yay.
Rick. And I don't know if we have idling signs. I'll look for those. I think at one point we did, and that's a really good idea because there is some idling involved with that line.
Okay, well, thank you, Rick, for doing that, and Deb for helping out when you can. So very good. What about the EV 101 event on July 16th? Who's in charge of that?
That is hosted by MGE and the city, and we're having it this year at Stonehorse Green. We're going to block off that horseshoe, and cars will be parked in the parking spots in front of Long Table and those businesses. And it'll be like a car show. And at the same time that that's happening, there will be chamber music playing and ballet performances by the Central Midwest Ballet Company. And there's going to be a food truck, so it'll be a party atmosphere somewhat, and there'll already be people there. So I think it will attract more people this way.
Do we need volunteers for that?
We don't actually need volunteers, but I think it would be great to come. And also, if one of you has kind of an exciting EV and would like to be in the EV show and talk to residents about your EV, that would be great. And MGE really likes to have elected officials come, especially if they have an EV. And people like the chair of the committee. Um, so, we can decide that later, but it is coming up. It's only a couple months away.
Well, you should reach out to our new mayor. She has
Yes.
an EV and she's a draw. So do that. Okay, good. And you actually already talked about the rain garden maintenance event. So we covered that. So what about the camping event? Oh, Kermit, you're muted.
On the EV event, just clarification, should people get in touch with Guy from MG&E, or Kelly, are you the point person if people want to volunteer a vehicle or show up to help?
I would reach out to me about it, and because I'm sort of the go-between with everyone, and I'm working with
Okay.
Dave Benferrato at MGE on this.
Okay.
Okay. And so Kelly, you're probably still up to talk about the camping event.
Yeah, I don't have much to say about that except to run the idea past. Well, what it is Parks and Recreation is having their first camping event at Orchid Heights Park for families. It'll be August 7th. And they have programs in hour chunks so that there's some things to do with the families on site, and they asked if the sustainability committee would like to have a table set up or something, an activity or something. And I was thinking that if we could, I don't know, it's an evening event, but if we could find someone who could come and do a recycling demonstration, maybe even just bring a table with a lot of different recyclables and be able to talk to families about, what can you recycle, what can't you recycle, sort of a stump the recycler um, talk or interactive event. That could be one thing that we could do at that event that wouldn't require the committee coming up and staffing a table to do something from scratch. I've talked to Pelletieri about this, and they're very interested in doing an event like this. It just depends on if the scheduling would work out.
You could also reach out to Sustain Dane because they have a whole recycling program
Mhm.
online. So they might have somebody who could do that if Pelletieri is unavailable.
Yeah, that's a really good idea. That's good.
Okay. Okay. And then, well, that's the next one, the all around Dane County with Sustain Dane and Sustain Middleton.
Yeah,
Which is
this
2
is
weeks.
an event that we worked out with Sustain Dane to host in Middleton this summer. And we plan to have this at Parisi Park on August 18th. And Sustain Dane hosts it and usually brings snacks. And their ask of the city or people in the city is they usually like to have a few business owners or people in the community who are doing sustainable things who give very short 2 to 3 minute talks about what they're working on. And so they even suggested that maybe we could have some of our Sustainable Middleton Award winners there. Maybe some of the businesses could say, I have a cleaning business and this is what we've accomplished by doing this. And they're very short little spiels, but it's good for the local businesses and folks. And then it's sort of a mixer, and Sustain Dane does a little talk about what their organization does and how they can help the community. They're really nice events. We had one other one at the Cider House um, a couple years ago, and it was well attended. And someone from Kathleen from Bell Farm spoke, and it was a really nice event. So I would just say that you don't have to do anything for this event, but it would be wonderful if you could come and just support Sustain Dane's work in our community, and then support whoever I can work on getting some of the Sustainable Middleton folks to see if they'd be interested in coming to that.
Oh, good. And I went to that one that you talked about, that cider, and it's actually quite nice. So I didn't see whose hand was up first.
Sue
I'm
was
just gonna,
Sue was first.
okay, Sue, go ahead.
Hey, thanks. I'm looking at, so I went over to the Visit Middleton website because I don't see a time for that July 16th EV 101. And it's not on the Visit Middleton website, so I don't know where that's being promoted, but it'd be great to just do a gut check or double check on where some of these things are listed and being promoted just to help get the word out.
Yeah, we definitely need to start promoting the EV right away. And MGE sent me a draft of the social media graphics and what they want to call it and how they're going to talk about it. So I need to approve that, and then they will be posting on their social media, which has a pretty extensive reach, and then we can grab that and post it through all of our city channels. But yeah, I expect to see that really soon.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Good
Thanks.
comment. Yes, Deb.
I was thinking if we didn't have a lot of Sustainable Middleton Award winners that want to do this, if there's a few, what would you think about giving them a Sustainable Middleton t-shirt to kind of showcase that, this is part of the Sustainability Committee work, and because we bought extras, last year. Just an idea.
Yeah, that's great. We definitely have the t-shirts.
That sounds fine with me. So
Yep.
if everybody's okay with that, it's a good idea.
Yeah.
I think that would be helpful. Okay.
PR is what they're for.
Okay.
Alrighty. Good. All right. That sounds good. Well, Deb, since Dick isn't here, do you want to chat about the festival parade? Are you working on that again this year? Or,
Well, I don't know. We haven't really talked about it as a committee. I mean, are we still wanting to do this and do it similar to last year? Is that the plan? Nobody's really talked about it that I remember anyway.
okay, well, let's open that up. Team, what do you think? Do you want to do this again? Or has it run its course? Thoughts? I know that Alder Shaver kind of likes it. It's good advertising, gets us out into the community.
I'm for it.
Okay, so our Alder is for it. Sue?
I actually walked in the parade last year for the Sustainable Committee. I thought it was great. I had a lot of fun. So it's great to see some of the committee members.
Yes, I walked in it last year too. So I think mainly if it's something, we just have to have enough of a critical mass if we're going to do that. That's something that our green team person could help out with. So if you can help provide other people from the green team, I think that's nice to team up with the green team and the sustainability committee and anybody associated with the sustainable, school committee. It shows a real community aspect.
Yeah.
So I would say, think about that. We might want to put that on a standing agenda because it's coming right up if we're going to do anything other than just, walk.
And the Good
So,
Neighbor Festival is the 30th. The parade is on
It's
the 30th.
August. Yes,
Yeah, it's
August
late.
30th.
Okay.
late this
So we have a little
And
time.
Brad, do you think we've asked the green team in the past, and generally there's so many high school students that are involved in the parade through athletics and other clubs, and we haven't really been able to get many high school kids. What do you think the possibility is of getting high school kids to march in the parade?
Yeah, I mean, I absolutely sent out messages in our communications at least 4 or 5 times last year before the parade, and we had maybe 1 or 2 people who were interested. So yeah, I know it's tough with people who are in the marching band and stuff. I'm happy to continue to send out messages and try to spread the word. Yeah, I feel
But
like
yeah, that's kind
all
of
I
been
can do.
the last couple of years. We've not been able to get high school kids. We did get some Cromery kids in the past.
Yeah, maybe
know?
that's a good point. I can reach out to Cromery's green team. That might be a good idea. See if they're interested.
Yeah,
Why
it
don't I
would
do
be
that?
great to see
Yeah.
people of all ages out there. So if we had some Cromery or, middle school, things like that, so
Yeah.
maybe reach out, see what the interest is. If there's nobody that wants to walk in it, that might
Absolutely.
choose it for us. Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely. I'll do that for sure.
Okay, thank you. Okay, anything else on the Good Neighbor Festival? Okay, Deb, you're still up. How about the native plant tags at City Hall?
Well, Alder Schaefer might know better about this. How long is City Hall going to be there? Because the plan is to incorporate, the 3 buildings, senior center and library, in a different location? I mean,
Well, no, there's urgency to move forward, and my guess the current plans are still at the current locations where all 3. The question is, how quickly do we do everything all at once? And 2 years from now, we have all new buildings, or do we space this out in such a way so that it takes 5 or 6 or 8 years? I think the consensus on the council is something's going to happen. But even if it were to happen now, it's going to take a year or 2 before anybody would even come up with a plan to break ground. So
Okay.
we're talking 3 or 4 years from now before something happens.
Okay, so then I'll move forward with my idea, because I was over there the other day and I thought, all these prairie plants are great, but none of them have any ID markers on them. And I think with the interest that we had from people for our rain gardens, and that was native plantings that we put in there. I think maybe it would be a great educational opportunity if we would put markers and we'd ID the plants that are in there so that people, when they come to City Hall, will actually know what they're looking at.
Yeah.
So I
And-
wonder who was responsible. Last year, there were a couple of corn stalks growing by City Hall on a parking lot. Somebody put signs out saying corn stalk.
Yes.
It was
Yeah.
great. It was incredible. It was fun.
Yeah, that's a good
So I
idea.
Do
Yeah, I mean, the
that.
corn had come off of the trains going by and started growing in the
Mhm.
grass around by the library. And somebody thought, let's put a sign up.
Well, it's pretty funny.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know if I would need, somebody to, what's the word I want? Make a motion and et cetera for this. I would be willing to work on it and get things surveyed and identified and how many species we have. And I would look into how much money it would cost to buy those markers. But I first need to know if you guys are interested in having that done as an educational project for the committee.
I think it's a great idea.
Deb, just a question. Is there any way that could be integrated or coordinated with the rain garden thing? I mean, seeing as those kind of plants are sometimes part of a rain garden installation, be a bonus hit, I guess, to have them identified, but also have them identified in terms of how they could be used for a rain garden application.
Yeah, I get that. So that you're trying to say, here are some plants that you could use in a rain garden. And if you're going for the educational component,
Right.
like tell them what's happening, like why it's good to have these plants in front of City Hall.
Right.
Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Are you saying some kind of a workshop? Are you saying a sign that delineates the benefits or what?
I'm saying in terms of signage, because I mean, actually, another idea that did cross my mind was, what if we did a workshop putting in a rain garden in front of City Hall and then labeled it accordingly? But that may be beyond our scope right now, but
Well,
So really
there's always
connecting the
incentives there.
ideas.
Yeah.
connecting the ideas, right?
Well, I think that the education part is a good idea. So I would support it. Alder Schaefer.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just think, you know what, well, this thing may not happen the next year or two. I wouldn't put a huge amount of long-term energy, such as, those kind of gardens, because in 2 years it might start all to go down. I think that City Hall is the worst
Yeah.
of the buildings and has a priority. And so that's going to happen. But I have some of my constituents who walk by the library and City Hall and they think it looks like an unweeded garden. And I think if there was some signage there to start saying this is here for a purpose, it's
reason.
not just that Bruce Company's not taking care of it, that would be helpful.
Yep.
Yeah.
No, I went by there and I think whoever is taking care of it is doing a really good job. It looks,
Yeah,
I don't
it's
see
okay.
a lot of invasive
Well,
species.
this was last year, so I haven't been there around there. this
Okay.
year.
Okay.
Okay. Do we have maybe a motion do we need to do a motion so that Deb can work on this? Have a motion to look into signage, or just say okay and go for it?
I'd say go for it.
Go for it, right? And
All right.
and do some budget checking as far as the signage, so then we could, when we spend the money, then we need to, I think, vote on.
Yeah, your $200 is gone, so.
We spent 112 on treats for the rain garden workshop.
I'll give you money. That's okay.
Okay. Well, Deb, you're on a roll because now you have to talk about the awards and wood for the plaques.
Okay, we have 5 plaques left that came from the original downed trees in the Bach Forest. And if this is a sustainable Middleton Awards ongoing event, then we need more plaques. So Dick and I have been working with Kevin Short, and Kevin is short of storage space for cutting up trees into boards and then having them dry, because the recycling center doesn't have a lot of space for that kind of a endeavor. So the next thing is we met with the wood shop teacher at Middleton High School, and they are putting in a structure that's going to be solar powered to dry lumber quickly. So it isn't just in storage for a year or more, like at the recycling center with our original plaques. So, and people have been donating down trees to the high school. He has black walnut, he has some oak, he has some maple. He has the donated wood at the high school. He has the students that are going to do the job of making the plaques. Dick took our 2 plaques in. We have a black walnut left, and we have a cherry plaque that he showed the teacher, and he's like, we can do this, and we're going to do it all. We'll cut the trees, we'll cut the lumber, we'll make the plaques, and we will also finish them in terms of the polyurethane finish, coating, etc. So I said, well, how much cost is there involved? He said the magic word, zero.
Zero.
So
Yay.
we're going to do it. It's going to be free to us. And he is going to do it until he retires from Middleton High School. So there will be a sustainable supply of plaques.
Well done.
Perfect.
Well done.
Yay.
Wow.
Good
Nice
job,
job,
Deb.
Deb.
Woo. All right. Well, he should have a Sustainable Middleton Award then for
Yeah.
that.
That's right.
Exactly. That's what I'm thinking.
Yes.
Yeah.
So excellent. Great news. All right. Well, thank you for that.
Have you invited him to consider like putting on some kind of inscription on the back of the plaques, prepared by Middleton High School wood shop or something,
Oh,
Yeah.
we'll
so
do
they
that.
can get their own PR,
Yeah,
Yes.
Dick will do that because he's got it on the back of the plaques now where that wood came from and et cetera. So we'll
Okay,
do
so
the
that's
same
already
thing.
part of the plan. Good.
Yeah, we'll do
Yes.
the same thing for MHS.
Yes. Well, that's wonderful news. Good job. All righty. Well, the last item, I guess, is me. It's a Sustainable Purchasing Policy Implementation Plan update. I did the annual report presentation. So the first annual report has been completed, and I listed out what we needed to work on to council. Probably the biggest portion of this is the next steps. I am actually moving on to Plan Commission. Lisa has appointed me to
Yeah.
Plan Commission, so I'm not going to be on the Sustainability Committee in June. So we need to kind of hand this off a little bit. I will still be working with Kelly and Christy and all of you, kind of in a coordinating capacity. The whole idea is to integrate sustainability throughout the organization, so it's just second nature. So the next steps really are me talking to Kelly, figuring out what training we need to do. Again, being that champion, this is something I'll probably just follow up on a little bit, but it would be nice to have somebody else really be a champion, because until it is fully integrated, we've made so much momentum, we don't want to go by the wayside. So anybody who's interested in kind of following up with this, let me know. Otherwise, I'll just work with Kelly on that to try and keep moving it forward and getting it integrated. It's actually moving along pretty well. Sue. Oh, sorry.
Laura, can
So-
you just talk a little bit about maybe where things are at, how much future work you see, driving this kind of home for anybody who might be interested in becoming that champion? Like,
Sure. So I see a little bit of training left to do with staff, just kind of updating them as we go forward and get things done. So their RFP language, we made templates, and then those templates were sent to the lawyer to make sure that all the wording is fine. And Kelly, the planning department, the Parks and Rec and Public Works are also looking at writing an RFP to make sure that anything with real technical language that's beyond our capacity, like for low carbon concrete, is written by engineers. So they're kind of handling that part. So the follow-up that kind of needs to be done is really paying attention to its integration. Those templates are ready to go. Now we just got to make sure they actually, get in there, and especially with the new ERP, so Bill Burns, our assistant city administrator, is going to be setting up an enterprise resource planning system. And so the idea is there's an e-procurement arm to that. So that would be, let's have somebody just make sure that the templates get into that, so that all staff has to do is copy paste and the language is in our documents. Next year, we are moving on to focus on chemical reduction, like maybe pesticides or chemicals and cleaning, things like that. So there will be, I would say, a little training element there just to make staff aware again that this is something we're focusing on. Maybe bring in a speaker. So kind of like Deb used to do, identify a speaker, somebody who can really talk to this person and talk to these problems and drawing down our pesticides and things like that. And then again, what I did was for the annual report, I went through the city budget and looked at all of the budget requests to see how they were doing with the life cycle cost assessment, and highlighted who I thought did, well, and said, this is kind of how you'd want to do it. The police department did well with using life cycle costing, and then also the planning. So like the golf course actually did a pretty good job with planning out their sustainable initiatives over the next 5 years. And then there were, the hope is that like maybe water utilities or somebody who doesn't have it on their agenda will see how this is done, and just to kind of move that forward. And then I would say the other thing is just to communicate. Probably the biggest thing is somehow communicate to staff, maybe a little farther down the food chain. And this would be working with Kelly, just regarding the sustainable purchasing policy, because we still had like 30% of the people who responded to my survey hadn't really heard of it, didn't feel confident about it, that type of thing. So it's a bit of an awareness campaign. We need to get some information out to them. And so I'm going to work on finishing up some videos that maybe they can use on onboarding. And then it would just be, okay, are they watching the videos? Are they learning about this stuff? Are they still doing life cycle costing analysis for fleet vehicles and major purchases? Are they aware of what's in the plan? Like, all right, here's all these guidance sheets. Are you using them? And that's in a survey, which I've written. So it's a matter of just kind of sending it through again or updating it.
So Sue, there's really nothing left to do anymore.
Yeah, right.
Jeez.
You just got to pay attention.
10 minutes later,
Right. Okay. Piece of cake, no problem.
Yeah. I just want to say, Laura, as Vice Chair of Plan Commission, welcome aboard.
All righty. I heard that's going to be exciting too. So thank you.
Twice as much work as this committee. So.
Yeah, I heard that too. Made me think twice, but
Yeah.
I'll give it the old college try.
There you go.
Deb, I see your hand.
Isn't this kind of planning, the sustainable purchasing policy? It's your baby. Can't you kind of take it along and keep working on it at your other committee? What do you think?
I might be able to. I talked to Lisa about that, and part of it's just becoming a workload. And then she's like, well, if there's still more training that needs to be done, maybe we can at some point, it's a little beyond volunteer work.
Right.
Yeah.
So we're looking into all of our options. And so if anybody feels like trying to take over, that's great. If not, I'm not going to let it die
Yeah.
on the vine. I've come this far.
Yeah, it sounds overwhelming to me when you explained
Yeah.
it. So
It's one of those that you kind of have to know what's happening, and it's really a lot of following up. Is like,
Yeah.
did this get sent out? Are they doing this? It's more like kind of emails and then kind of checking in.
Oh,
So
I mean,
It sounds like
I
more
must-
than that, but
Right.
I mean,
yes,
part of my concern is that there really should be a staff champion who's has
Yeah.
paid accountabilities to follow through.
Uh-huh.
And it's a
Yeah.
big burden that's fallen on you. And I'm grateful for the effort you've applied to it. And you've really broken through some log jams we were dealing with to make this happen. But if they can't find a current staff person, maybe they need to hire a consultant that has some expertise in this area. Laura,
Yeah.
you think maybe?
yes, they could just hire me to do it. But okay, Kelly, I see your hand.
Yeah, I was just gonna say it's a lot of work, and I've seen behind the scenes how much Laura does in order to brief me on the highlights, and you realize it's been days and days of work. And so it really is, I think, staff level work, really high level staff work, I would say as well.
Yes.
So
Right.
if the city doesn't have budget to hire consulting or outside, then I do feel like that falls to me. And I did talk to the mayor about this, saying that I really think this should live with me now because I've been very adjacent to it this whole time. So I feel like, and it's my job. So I do feel like I should be the staff champion. It would also give me a reason to get around to every single department and check in and build relationships. And Laura's really set the framework for all of that to happen. I think there's definitely, if Laura does more work on this, I feel like it's going to be downloading to me, like, okay, the survey goes out at this time, and then you follow up over the course of a month, and then here's the report I wrote at that point, and to kind of walk me through the timeline of what I need to do as a work plan. And I talked to Lisa, the mayor, about this and said, for me, I feel like staff-wise, my priorities are going to have to be sustainable purchasing policy, the climate roadmap, and building out the city EV infrastructure for our city fleet. And those things in themselves is a full-time, those three things will be full-time. And then there's a lot of other things that I'm doing, just small things, but those should be that I think those would be my three main tasks. And also helping usher that sustainable city plan update through over the next few months. So we're not trying to have a discussion about that, but I'm just saying, I think that the staff person would be me, and I really do commit to taking that on. But I will need some extra time working with Laura to pass it off in a way that I can really run with it. And then I ask that I can get help from the committee on chunks that I can get help with.
Okay. Sue?
Sounds good.
Yeah, no, that's just what I was going to say, Kelly. Like you had my thought was just then let us know how we can support instead of champion per se. Yeah.
Okay. All righty. So I think that's everything. And then we have our standing agenda items. So anything we need to add to that list, or if nothing to add to that list, then I think we have concluded our agenda.
All right.
Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Move to adjourn.
second,
Deb seconds it. Okay. Motion carries. We
Right, now
are
we need
adjourned.
oh,
Do we need to
technically
vote?
we need to